A week in the life of a college student, an adorable kitty named Kitty, and an exploration into microaggressions and their impact on an individual's life. Welcome to Sweetxheart. Welcome, you powerful gamers and learners, to Teaching Gamers, where we talk about the games that taught us and how we can teach with games. My name is Mallory Kesson. I'm a gamer, teacher, and ed tech coach with a passion for bringing gaming and learning together. Today's review explores Sweetxheart, what we can learn from it, and how we can use it in classrooms. If you enjoy what we're doing here, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to receive notifications for when we post new content. Let's get started. On the surface, Sweetxheart seems like a very straightforward, slice-of-life style game. You play as Kara, a college student trying to navigate her own happiness while handling college, an internship, family, friends, and how the world sees her. That alone would be enough to create a challenging balance. But Kara also frequently faces instances of potential racism and sexism, as well as microaggressions from coworkers, classmates, and people on the street. Players are tasked with guiding Kara through quick decisions, microaggressions encountered, and the added stress of navigating her world as a modern-day Black woman. Students make choices ranging from how Kara is going to dress that day, to who she speaks with in class and at work, to what happens when she feels uncomfortable in a situation. Does she take that risk to speak out and let people know how she feels? Or does she try to just hide it instead? Every one of these decisions makes an impact on Kara's stress level and how happy she is by the end of the week. The game follows Kara for 5 days, then reveals how her week ends depending on how stressed or happy players have made her. With the various endings, this free web-based game has plenty of replayability and guarantees a different experience for each player. High school students and up would be an ideal audience for Sweetxheart, given some of the language in the game. If you're a parent working with just your child, and language doesn't bother you, you could use it as a way to open discussions on privilege, racism, sexism, and more. All students, high school and up, should play and discuss Sweetxheart to have a chance to recognize their own experiences in a game or see how their own experiences differ. To start things off simple, Sweetxheart features some pretty cool intro to coding moments. During their playthrough, players will complete 2 tasks for Kara's job. One focused on design ideas, and one focused on the logic of coding. Both are very simple to complete, but embody a lot of key concepts, from balancing client expectations and user experience, to using logic and sequencing in code. As a former computer science teacher, I couldn't help but do a happy dance at seeing it. At its heart, all puns intended, Sweetxheart is all about getting a glimpse into someone else's experiences. Sweetxheart was inspired by game designer Kat Small's own experience being a Black woman in tech and how her life has been impacted by it. Students could complete their own playthrough through the game inspired by Small's experiences, and then analyze the choices that they made, how that played out, or the hypotheticals of how it could have played out. They could analyze their experiences, compare with others, and do things like have fishbowl discussions, Socratic seminars, write journal entries, or draw comics to process their experiences from playing the game. And if that isn't enough of a teachable moment, Small completed Sweetxheart after starting it for a school project. So throw down the gauntlet to your students and have them use free game engines to build their own games based on what inspires them. Challenge them to push beyond just a class project and make something that the general public can see and play. There are so many teachable moments within Sweetxheart, I can't help but geek out. For real. Cat Small, if you're watching, this would be such a cool chance to work with teachers and students to really get to inspire the next generation of designers. There are so many positives of playing Sweetxheart in class. As mentioned before, it's a fantastic way to see a story we don't normally get to see in gaming, and can inspire students to see another avenue for telling their own stories and expressing themselves. In addition, two of the most common barriers to the games in class are time and cost. Cat Small might as well knock these out with a sledgehammer because Sweetheart is short enough to play in a single class period, and it is free. No trials, no limits on copies. Sweetheart is free for anyone with access to a web browser. Heck, right after this video, you could go play Sweetheart tonight and finish within 20 to 30 minutes. That's plenty of time for players to be able to have a solid playthrough experience and complete questions, reflections, or other work alongside of it. Neither of the pitfalls to avoid are really issues with the game itself, but more so things to be aware of and prepared for your students and players to see. First is that the language doesn't hold back. When Kara turns down catcalls on the street, she's frequently met with profanity and name-calling, so be aware when using it with students. Even the profanity on the street is a teachable moment though, given that it comes from women's experiences with not only catcalling, but the reactions when they reject the catcallers or try to call them out on the behavior. It's a reality that many women face, and even the player feels its impact as they decide things like how to dress for that day or how to react to different strangers. The second one is also not really a pitfall of the game itself, but again, something that's key to be aware of. Make sure you're aware of the conversations that can come up, and that you've prepped your class to have those conversations. Race, gender, anxiety, the search for identity, these are all sensitive topics on their own, and even more so when combined. They're important topics for students to explore and discuss, and games like Sweetheart do provide a virtual world with no real-world consequences for choices for students to get to explore. When students or players are ready to process those real-world connections, just be ready to be able to pull them back in and have those conversations in a respectful, mature environment. Sweetheart and Cat Small make me geek out for their learning potential. Cat Small is a game designer that students can really look up to. And it's super crucial for students to see not only game characters they can identify with, but game designers as well. The more that students of color, female students, and more from underrepresented groups see designers of color and female designers, the more welcome they may feel to use tech, design, and games to express their own stories and points of view. I saw it plenty of times in my own computer science class, the number of students who would tell me that as girls, they maybe didn't think they could do tech. They didn't think that was for them until they could see that there was another woman who was in tech. I could not recommend Sweetheart more. It's a short, free game, eliminating the typical barriers for classroom entry for games, and it focuses on experiences that are not often covered in games and media, but are often felt by students and people around them. It's a straightforward game about some complicated issues, and you should check it out as soon as you can. Thanks for watching the Teaching Gamers review of Sweetheart. If you want to learn more about the game, check out the link in the description below. If you have questions, comments, ideas, and suggestions on other games we should check out, feel free to comment below. And of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can see more of Teaching Gamers. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.